Chapter 8, Mishnah 8. The last Mishnah mentioned not only the vent hole of an oven, but also the vent hole of a stove. This Mishnah discusses other parts of an earthenware stove that may or may not be considered part of its interior. If the sheretz is found in the place where the wood is put into the stove, Rabbi Yehuda says if the sheretz is anywhere from the outer edge of the stove and inward, the stove is tamei. Even the space under the thickness of the opening for inserting the wood is considered part of the interior of the earthenware stove. A more lenient view, but the sages say if the sheretz is anywhere from the inner edge of the stove and outward, the stove is tahor. The sages do not consider the space under the opening for inserting the wood to be part of the stove's interior. In their view, a sheretz will make the earthenware stove tamei only if it is inside the stove itself. The most lenient view, Rabbi Yossi says, only if the sheretz is found from the point directly under the place that the pot is set down on the stove and inward is the stove tamei. But if the sheretz is found from the point directly under the place that the pot is set down on the stove and outward, the stove remains tahor, even though the sheretz is within the area surrounded by the walls of the stove. Some stoves have parts whose interiors are also not considered to be part of the actual stove's interior. If sheretz is found in the place underneath where the bathhouse attendant sits, or in the place underneath where the dyer sits, or in the place underneath where the olive cookers sit, the stove itself remains tahor. Although the interiors of these seats are open to the interior of the stove itself, they are considered to be outside the interior of the stove itself. The stove is tamei only if the sheretz is found inside it from the place where the pots seal the opening on top and inward, as Rabbi Yossi said above. Only that inner part of the stove's inner is legally considered to be the interior of the stove.